So does paying off your small business's debt make your business more valuable or more attractive for people to buy? Hey there, it's David Barnett with the investlocalbook.com blog site and howtosellmyownbusiness.com, where I talk about buying and selling small businesses. I talk about managing small businesses, building small businesses, personal finance, and anything else that people want to ask me about. I had a very interesting exchange the other day with someone online who was telling me that he had been working with his accountant and other advisors to prepare his business for sale. And one of the key things that he had done was that he had paid off all of his business's debt. And he believed that this was an important aspect of getting his business ready for a potential buyer to come along. I thought it was a very interesting notion because it goes to show how people can have very confusing ideas about what it is that buyers are looking for and about the actual transaction process. So first of all, the question, does having a small business's debt paid off make it more valuable? Immediately we have to stop and think about what is it that people pay for when they buy a small business. And basically a business is worth a certain amount of money based on its cash flow and the risk in the industry. So a business with, say, $100,000 of cash flow is worth a certain amount of money. It's the cash flow that people are buying. Whether or not the current owner has any debts doesn't really have an effect on that. And the best way to see this in practice is to think about your house. If you were going to sell your house and different buyers came along, are any of them going to ask if you have a mortgage? They don't really care, right? Because the house is worth what the house is worth. When you get paid, if you happen to owe the bank some money, that you're just going to pay the bank out of the money that you receive. They're going to put their own mortgage on. Now, what's interesting though is that when people buy businesses, it isn't nearly as simple as when you buy a house. It's not a quick formulaic automated process like mortgage lending is. When you buy a business, in fact, the most difficult thing for most buyers is to piece together the financing to buy the business. So if there's a business that has a bunch of debt and maybe even debt in the form of capital leases, so they own some, or they use some equipment, but they lease it instead of owning, and there's all these obligations that are tied to equipment and things that can be assumed by a buyer. What that actually means from the buyer's point of view is that the business has financing built in. So they can make an offer to the seller saying, look, I'd like to buy your business. This is what I think it's worth. And part of my compensation to you, part of the remuneration for buying the business, or consideration rather is the word I'm looking for. Part of the consideration for buying the business is that I'm going to assume these debts from you. So you now don't have to pay off the bank, the leasing company, etc. And what that does for the buyer is it reduces the amount of cash that they need to come up with on closing day. So having the right kinds of debts and liabilities in a business can actually make it easier to sell. Surprising revelation, right? Anyway, if you are thinking about selling your business or you're getting ready to prepare it for sale, you should go and visit howtosellmyownbusiness.com, where you can download a free copy of my special report, 12 Things to Do Before You Consider Selling Your Business. And you can also find a link to about 75 or more videos on buying and selling businesses. And get yourself a copy of How to Sell My Own Business. It's my book about the exact process of selling your own business and what you need to do and the things you need to think about. Anyway, I hope that was a little bit of insight about the kinds of misdirection that exist out there. But if you own a business and you're thinking about selling it and you want a little bit of advice from someone like me, just pick up the phone. I work with people all over the world, Canada, USA, UK, New Zealand, Australia, and I'd be more than happy to speak with you. Talk to you soon.